Dog, my projects is sweet, but if you ain't from where I'm from, like some dog don't come or you getting beaten. Yeah, we cheating, dog. That's automatic.
Welcome everybody. I want to welcome you all to Room to Think podcast. I'm super excited. I'm Redante Ashford, and this is my very first episode, and I'm super excited. So we're gonna get the kinks out and everything like that. But hey, listen, I couldn't think of a better way to kick off my podcast with none other than an amazing national recording artist, my brother, my friend. Listen, when I say national recording artist, I'm talking about #1 song in the country in my projects. Number 15 album on Billboard. Listen, none other than my brother, Milwaukee's own global rap sensation, amazing artist, amazing brother, amazing friend, amazing father, amazing husband, all of those things. I want to welcome to Room to Think podcast, my brother, Calvin Bellamy, Mr. Cuckoo Cal.
What it do? What
Yes.
it do? What it do?
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm excited. Yeah. Huh? That's the one right there that took all around the world. You know what I mean?
That's the one.
The grind, the struggle, all of those things. But this one right here literally took you around the globe, man. Yeah.
Still taking me places.
Still taking you places.
Right here.
Still taking you
Room
places.
to
That's
think.
what I'm talking about. Still taking you, still walking.
Yeah.
It's still walking.
walking.
Still walking, man. Listen, man, I want to welcome you, man, to Room to Think. I'm super excited, man, about this conversation, about this opportunity to just have a dialogue with you. And I just want to thank you, man, for just saying yes, man. Yes to the invite to come and talk to us, man. How you been?
Man, I'm hanging in there. Very good now that you invited me, and I'm the first one on Room to Think. I feel good. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, man, I'm uberly excited about this conversation, and I got a lot that I want to get to, but man, I want to go back to the beginning. I want to go back to the beginning, if you will, for just a moment, man. And so, man, I want to know about about the early years of Cuckoo Cal, the early years, like when you was a kid, like when your mama and daddy took you to church and everything like that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that upbringing.
So yeah, I was an Army brat. You know what I'm saying? My father was in the service, and we traveled, every 3 years, man. I was born in Baton Rouge. From there, we moved to El Paso, Texas. From there, Baumholder, Germany, and then from there, I did a stop in my mama's hometown, Richmond, Virginia,
Wow.
and then Milwaukee. My father retired here, but yeah, man,
So you were basically born global. You were already moving
just
around
moving
before
around.
that was already in your DNA before you even got here. You were already kind of like touching
around.
different soils.
Right. Yeah, as soon as I got close to a good friend, I had to leave him.
Yeah.
Every 3 years, we had to move. So
You know who that reminds me of? It reminds me of Tupac. It literally reminds me of Tupac because the way that he was moving around so much early in his life before he even discovered really his niche in music and everything.
Right.
He was already moving around from New York to the Bay. And so just hearing that I never knew that. I never knew that you were all the way down in Baton Rouge and all the way. Do you think that because you have a very distinct voice. You have a very distinct voice. It's a Midwest twang mixed perfectly with this Southern drawl. And do you think that coming through all of that kind of gave you a little bit of that roux?
I have no clue. At first, I want to say glory be to God.
Yeah.
And then, my mom and my daddy. I don't know. My daddy from Georgia. My mom was from Richmond.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's just a blessing, man. It's just been all a blessing, man.
Yeah. Your parents being in the military and everything like that. Now, I do know that you also spent some time overseas in Germany as well.
Right.
That was
So-
part of your experience.
Right. Yeah. So we stayed over there for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I was in Germany till I was in the 7th grade. So I moved over there when I was 9, and then came back to the world, we used to call it, the
Wow.
United States, when I was 12. But yeah, I started messing with music, back then, man. I used to have a Walkman. I remember they had a pitch control on it.
For those that hold on, wait, we dating ourselves. For those that don't know, a Walkman literally was this little box that that you could put batteries in,
with a
and you could put a cassette tape in it, and it had a radio on it, and you actually had headphones that you could walk around and listen to music. So they called it the Walkman.
Right.
We had to explain that
Right.
to the newcomers, to the
Right.
AI generation that don't know nothing about a Walkman. But yeah, so was Germany kind of like your beginning discovery of music, or was music always in your household kind of like before?
It was kind of in my house, with my mother really, waking me up in the morning to that Marvin Gaye and all that stuff, to go to school. But yeah, I think when I got to Germany is really when I, got deeper into music, man.
Nice.
So yeah, everybody was walking around with the boombox, and I was just, buying blank cassette tapes and filling it up, and playing music from the States.
Yeah.
That, got there a little bit later. So that's kind of how.
Now, I also know that as you begin to discover music, that at first you wanted to be a DJ.
Well, I didn't know I was going to end up. It just happened from me just making cassette tapes for people, you know what I'm saying? And I was just strictly recording, music from records onto a cassette. And then, like I was saying, with the Walkman, with the pitch control, I used to try and mix it in with the on my mama's old school turntable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, where the needle come down and drop down on there. So I try and blend it in and make it mix together with the pitch control on the Walkman.
Nice.
So that's kind of how it started.
And there were people that were demanding kind of like for your tapes because you was blending different music that they had not heard before.
Right.
And so they were kind of asking you to make tapes for them. That's it. Now, did you have did you come up with a name that for yourself back then, or was it
back then in Germany? No, I didn't have a name. The name didn't happen until I got to Milwaukee. Man.
Okay.
So my name was DJ Cool Cal B.
DJ Cool Cal B.
Yep.
Now that was a play on Calvin Bellamy. Cool Cal B. I like that.
Yeah. Let me give a shout out, may rest in peace to my homie TJ. We call him Hitman.
Okay.
Tommy B the Hitman. So we kind of was together, you know what I'm saying, DJing, man. Yeah.
Nice. And so bringing it forward, the retirement home where your dad is retiring in Milwaukee, and that's when you really began to indulge in the music, right? Now, when exactly did you make the transition from DJ to rapper?
It was Mr. Wiggum, my guy 7.
7.
Yeah, my guy 7. So I was DJing, and it was him and this dude named Stoney, you know what I'm saying? My guy Earl. And it was him and 7. I think it was 7's admiration, you know what I'm saying, to be a rapper. And
for those that don't know, so we clear in Milwaukee now. 7 is the current owner of an amazing Milwaukee landmark, an amazing restaurant called Mikasa Sioux Cafe, right?
Cafe.
And on over 3rd Street,
1835 3rd Street.
Martin Luther King Drive. And so 7, who's a Milwaukee legend himself, is the one who actually got you started in MCing.
Right.
We get some history today.
Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah,
we get some history today. Yeah,
for sure. 7, they was down on the we was down on the east side of Milwaukee, man, and I had started drinking a lot, you know what I'm saying? So they was hustling, you know what I mean? They was in the streets a little bit, and I was like, man, buy me some drink. I want some drink, man. And they used to just have the beat on, man. I remember it was an old Spice One beat, man. It was the beat is actually made by originally from Roy Ayers, and they was walking around writing, man. Instead of going to the store, 7 was just telling me like, man, just try and write something. I said, man, come on, man. I just want to go to the store and get another bottle, man. Damn. But he was like, man, listen, man, just try and write something. And I wrote something down, man. I started writing, and it's just kind of blew from there, man. His brother, you know what I'm saying, was our OG T Money, man. He was like, man, we finna put dude on, man. You know what I'm saying?
When did you? Because again, you have a very distinct voice. You have a very distinct voice, and there are artists that just stand out in a room because their voice is so unique and distinct. You know, Scarface has a very distinct voice. Um, um, we can name countless others that
Right.
even Jay-Z has a very distinct voice. It stands as it's just no one sounds and there's no one that sounds like Cuckoo Cal. When did you discover the speciality of your voice? Like when did you hear yourself like, oh, wait a minute? When did you discover your voice?
It really took, you know, people like yourself. It really took friends that I was around to make me like really realize, because I'm like, what is they tripping on, man? You know what I'm saying?
You didn't recognize it
I
at
didn't
first.
really, yeah, I really
Wow.
didn't recognize, like how you say, yeah, it took for, the crowd that I was around really to keep telling me, putting it in my head, dog. If you listen to what he's saying, I said, I just wrote some stuff and put it on there. It wasn't special to me, you know what I'm saying? But glory be to God, man. It's took me a long way, man.
Man, do you know that I'm not trying to be over biblical here, but the Bible has a scripture that says, that gifts come without repentance, and so you can be gifted and not even know it.
Right.
You literally can be crazy gifted and not even know it. There are people walking around right now, man, with all kind of gifts, and they don't even know it. And sometimes it takes people outside of you to really highlight how gifted you actually are.
Experiences.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. And man, that's absolutely amazing. Now, man, I also want to get into, once you started with the music and you started making the music, and everybody is really like, hey, wait a minute, there's something special here. I just want to find out, when did you discover it? When did you realize that there is something special in me?
Well, it started with my guy 88 Keys. He was doing music.
Keith Kinlow.
Keith Kinlow.
Yeah.
G Money, it was Seven and Stony, and you came up with the name. You know what I'm saying? They ended up turning it out. That's later down the line.
That's later down the line. So here's some Milwaukee history,
right?
And we as we name these people, we want to make sure we shot them out as well.
For sure.
So Keith Kinlow, 88 Keys, G Money, became the group A G to a Key, which signed with Rap-A-Lot Records.
Right.
And and a lot of people don't know that I gave them the name A G to a Key.
Correct.
A G to a Key. And so very exciting. And that was, our first interactions and beginning to get to know each other and everything like that. And so it was during those times that you really begin to discover that you really had something special.
At first, we were all a group called Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
Yeah, well, we started off with Stone Cold. We probably looked like on the cover like the Village People or something. But we started out Stone Cold, man, and it was McPhee, Stoney, Seven, G, me, and Keith did the beats, man. Yeah, Stone Cold. Yeah.
And man, I remember so I remember, this is where I want to interject. I remember when I first encountered you, I walked in a room and I saw this guy with these braids and he was just walking around waving his hands and rapping and everything. And I was like, man, this brother crazy. You know what I mean? And then they told me your name was Cuckoo Cal. And I remember that we eventually did a song called Why They Call Him Crazy. Why They Call Him Crazy.
Young dude. He was so young, man, in the streets, man. This was probably 3 days ago, man. It messed me up because he's so young for him to be like, that's Cuckoo Cal. And then he just said, why they call him crazy? I'm like, what you know about,
that? Right. And so that was like on the black and white tape, like a long time ago, right? But I also want to tap into, man, so taking it back in Milwaukee hip hop, taking it back, there's artists that have made such an imprint on the industry nationwide, like Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is made a name for himself because he was known to write whole albums without a pen, without writing anything down, just by memory. And when I first started hearing that, I was like, Cuckoo Cal been doing that. Like that was the thing that made me think you not was just crazy, but really genius, because you would just be walking around waving your hands, and then you come back with an entire verse.
What?
And so I wanted to ask you, when did you start that process, or how did that begin in you of just writing just off of sheer inspiration and no pen or anything just flowing out of you? When did that start?
I think it's because I was lazy. And I ain't want to pick up the
You don't
pen.
wanna pick up the pen.
I ain't feel it was like too much work to me. So I just used to do it line for line, like today. Like every once in a while later on, in my once after projects and I started getting to, they had deadlines for me. Then I pick up the pen every once in a while. But I get the best work out of just going off the top of my head, how I feel them, ever the Lord, whatever mode he put me in, that's where I
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
I remember one time, and I got to make sure I put this quote in there, man. I remember one time I asked you about that process, and you said, "I'm just snatching words out the air."
Right.
And I
Mhm.
thought that was so inspiring as an artist, as a young artist. We're in our early 20s, and
Right.
to see that you were like grabbing these words out of the air, and eventually it moved me to put the pen down and just begin to just come
Just
off of
come
my
off
heart,
my
off
heart.
my head,
Right.
and everything. Like, so it really inspired me during that time. So I was very excited about that. That was just a landmark of your genius, man. And I think a lot of people don't get an opportunity to truly tap into the level of genius that you possess in this art form. It's like listening to you is like almost hearing. You can hear the pain in the voice, and almost like you're making the song cry.
Right.
Like, and so where would you say that passion comes
I
from?
don't know. Only thing I could say is the Lord. I started crying doing a song. I did a song for Bootsy yesterday, and it just like I came across a line, and I just came to tears because it's like I don't know. The only thing I can explain, it just come from him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like I trip myself out sometimes. I'd be surprised, like, damn, I just said that.
Yeah.
So it just comes like that, man.
Well, man, you mentioned the Lord, so I want to make sure that I put this in there, and I want to ask you, man. So this is the question that I want to ask every artist. I can't wait till I talk to Boosie and others, and but I want to know, man, did your mom and dad, did they take you to church? Like, what
Oh
was
yeah,
how was faith incorporated in your household
man, we
early on?
had to be there we had church every Sunday, man, and Bible study on Tuesday, man.
Nice.
I just remember my mama sitting me up between her legs, that Vaseline on my face. I'm crying. I don't want to go, and picking my hair out, my hair nappy. She picking my afro, man. Yeah, we had to, man. But that started in Germany, man. As far back I could remember. We was going early before then, but what I could remember most vivid is that until like while we was in Germany, then my mother went crazy while we was over in Germany.
Mm,
So that's when everything started,
unraveling.
unraveling. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the name Cuckoo came from. Once we got here to Milwaukee, people, I have people over at my house with the turntables and stuff like that, and they witness. My mother used to like speak back to like two different people speaking back and forth to
Mm.
herself, man. And she went crazy. My father spent a gang of money just flying her all across the country to trying to
For
find
help.
out. Yep.
And this is way before mental health and mental
right,
wellness and
yeah.
things of that. This is like way before that
before,
time.
yeah.
So you actually witnessed your mom
Right.
go through these particular struggles
Right, yeah.
with mental health.
Yeah.
How did witnessing a lot of that, or seeing a lot of that, how did that affect you as a
Ooh,
young man?
It still affects me. So you know what I
Mm.
mean. I ain't blaming her. I love you, mom. I ain't blaming nothing on her, but
Yeah.
a lot. A lot. My grandfather. You know what I'm saying. My sister went crazy. Now my firstborn, he's actually in locked up as we speak. From mental health. From mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, do you go to therapy? Do you have a therapist?
No, I don't. Yeah, somebody just told me the other day, like I'm talking about my son. I'm like, man, he cuckoo. They say you the cuckoo word. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't.
Would you go to therapy? I mean, is that something that you're against or you're for?
Yeah, I at this point, like, yeah, it's a lot going on in my life, just with my family, like,
Yeah. Your family dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, man, I want to use this moment to kind of take a turn in the conversation because, you know, uh, we you know we've seen your story, we've watched the documentary, and by the way, the documentary was absolutely amazing, man. And I thank you for giving me an opportunity to participate in it. I remember when I first got back here to Milwaukee. Planting the church, and you gave me a call and asked me to be a part of the documentary, man. So I really salute you and appreciate you for giving me an opportunity to
Shout
be a
out to
part.
Steve. It's just money. Swift Sloan,
Yeah,
KB, Burrell.
beautifully shot
Yeah.
documentary, man, and it's just a beautiful documentary on your life and all of those different dynamics. And one of the things that was highlighted in the documentary, it's not a secret, we call it the elephant in the room, is that there's been a struggle. There's been a struggle, over the years, and oftentimes, people stand on the outside of a struggle and not understanding it, or not understanding how it started or where this comes from or anything like that. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just take an opportunity to talk about the struggle
Right.
for just a moment. And I want to kind of dial it back to the beginning and just, I know you mentioned that when you first got back to the States, you began to drink and you were doing the music. When did that transfer into harder substances and
drugs.
things like that?
I don't know. It's probably just from dealing drugs. I barely dealt drugs. It really was my friends, but then just with the alcohol and then just being around it, and then I don't know. I can't blame it on nobody or nothing, but I don't know. I'd say just they just went hand in hand, and then I just got off into the hardcore, and then it seemed like it was no turning back. I'm still fighting that monkey now.
So the struggle just kind of started from, you know, dealing and things of that
And it's
nature.
really probably more or less drinking. You know what I
Drinking.
mean? Yeah, yeah.
Did drinking become like the trigger to
Yeah,
that?
oh yeah, definitely.
I want to go back to, because a lot of people don't understand addiction. What made you, or what drew you to that in the first place? Like when you had all these other avenues happening, what kind of was pulling you in that direction? Was it
I
the things
don't
happening at home,
at
or
home
was
really like
yeah?
probably with my mother when she went crazy. That was really a strike in my life that was real detrimental.
Yeah. We again, in today's times, we have therapists and things of that nature. But I'm trying to take this audience just back a little bit, when mental health and therapy were not at the forefront of people's minds. So around what year, what time frame was this happening in your
As far
life?
as my mother,
No, as far as
as far as the
the
addiction
drugs.
happened
Yeah.
when I moved to Milwaukee. I think it was started in 91,
Early
92.
90s.
Yep. I started working out in I can remember because I got with my soulmate around 92. So it was around that time is when it came. And then I used to try and hide it, was in the closet with it, but
Yeah.
it was like a way to release, like, from reality, really.
So it's like two train tracks. So on one track, you have this new struggle that's beginning, this addiction that's beginning, and on the same note, you're actually in the same time that you're actually discovering your voice as an artist and beginning to find something special about you that you didn't even know was in you until other people began to highlight it.
Right. Yep.
Right.
So I'm playing tug of war, going back and
Mm.
forth. I'm seeing like the good life, and then I come back to the bad, like back and forth. Like, what is you doing? And I'm like, I can't explain it, but yeah, that's basically.
When you first started the music, when you first began, I'm talking about when Seven and others were encouraging you to write music. Did you, at that moment, did you see it going this far?
No. Seven actually brung me to y'all. Like, the feds came and got him. He brung me to you. Uh,
So we make sure we telling the story.
Story.
So again, so Seven, who is going away to do a little time,
Time.
and at that time, Seven brings you to Steve-O
Steve-O,
and me
you,
and
Hank, and Hank.
and Big Hank, beginning of Infinite Recordings.
Yeah.
And it's at that time that Steve-O actually uh, Steve-O actually kind of takes the lead with managing Cuckoo Cal, basically all things Cuckoo Cal.
Right.
And I remember, and we'll get back into the struggle a little bit, but I remember when I first encountered you, I just remember that you were amazing artist, but you had these really long raps. Like they would be, you remember that?
Yes.
They would be like 32 bars, like 50 bars.
Yeah.
And and here I am, like this kind of polished MC. I'm an MC, right? And so I'm like, okay, this guy is really, really great. And Steve was like, work with him. He's really great. And I remember we were first in Hank's studio, and I was like, man, you gotta get the bars down. You gotta get, gotta be 16 bars. And he was like, 16 bars, you would have you would have these 32 bar raps. That was like each verse was like 32 bars. It was like he would rap for a long time. And I was like, man, no, we gotta shorten the verses, and so I remember it's very funny. Me, you, and Hank sat there and we went over counting bars.
Right.
He was like, "What's a bar?" He was like, "What is a bar? I don't know what a bar is."
Like,
and so we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Like we walking through the bars. Like and Cal is actually learning to count the 16 bars, and which he became a master of doing the 16 bars. Now, at the time when I first encountered you, I knew nothing about the struggle. I knew nothing about any of those kinds of things. I didn't know anything about that. Again, because as you stated, you were kind of keeping it
I was keeping
under
it
wraps.
under the low. Even Seven, as he brung me to Steve-O, they knew, but they never would say something. So out of the different cats that I was hanging around, they just was like, there's some work missing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They just was throwing hints around like they knew, but they never spoke about it amongst themselves, and they never spoke about it to me until I think after Fair Joint. I remember his brother got out. He said, "Man, I used to give you $8,000 at a time, 2-3 times a damn day, and you mean to tell me you was doing drugs?"
Yeah, and so just so we putting this in context, so people really understand, this is prior to any record deals. This is prior to any national exposure. This is just you're just for the most part at this point, a local artist with an amazing gift, and so when we got a hold of you at that time, no one knew that that there was this other train running alongside of this track. And so I remember that we began to see, and again, I never seen, I'm gonna be 100, and especially in the beginning, and to this day, to this day, I've never seen you do drugs, ever. I've never seen you do drugs. You've always kept that, private to yourself.
But not.
Yeah, I never seen you in that.
Right.
But when we were beginning to discover that this was going on, it was kind of like not anything that we were broadcasting. It was just kind of like a shock because, there was these two parallel tracks. It was just amazing, gifted, genius level artists.
And on the other hand,
we like looking around, where he at? Where Cal at? We got to go get him.
Missing in action.
Yeah, missing in action. And so there were years of that struggle. A lot of people sometimes think when they see someone battling with an addiction that they think that that's something they want to do or something that they want. And we all know people that this what I chose, this what I want. But in my encounters with you, it's never been it never seemed like that was what you wanted. It was like that was something you fell into,
Right.
but it was not like something you wanted because I would see, the levels of shame or trying to hide it or
Right,
put it
right,
away
right,
or,
right.
things of that
Believe
nature.
me, it's not easy for me at least to just cut off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I've been battling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I have, you know what I'm saying? Since I've been addicted, I think I had a year and a month since just being off of it. But
Mm.
it's just it's just been a back and forth process.
Have you ever did any of the
Yeah,
rehabilitation stuff, any of those things?
yeah. Twice I went on my own, and then 4 times the system made me go. Getting
Hmm.
locked up or whatever. Twice I went on my own, and I don't. I mean, I just can't explain it. If I could explain it, I would.
I want to bring up a conversation that you and I had many, many years ago, 20 some years ago. And I brought it up earlier. So we were in the studio one time and you said to me, and we're young, we're in our 20s, and you said to me, if you could understand how this makes me feel without you getting addicted. And I remember looking at you and saying, I don't ever want to feel like that.
Right.
Because I was a young D-boy rapper, like I'm not, on that type of time. And I didn't have the information that I have now, these many years later, working in ministry, working with people that have come through various amounts of struggles from addiction to diseases to cancers to all kind of different things. And I just didn't have the information then. And I remember that when I was in Memphis, when I lived in Memphis for a while,
Remember
that
I
I had to
came down.
sit. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
you came. Remember you came to Memphis,
Yes, yes.
and I remember, man, I sat and I prayed and I asked God to forgive me and to I said, Lord, I didn't have the information to help him. That's what if there's anything that I ever regretted in life is that, or every time that you ever wished that you had, I didn't have the information to help you. We make fun of certain addictions in our upbringing and things of that nature. But as we grow older, we recognize that a lot of these things are just diseases, man.
Right.
Diseases that it's like you can't look at somebody with cancer and say you wanted to have cancer.
Right.
Or
Right.
look at somebody with diabetes and say that's what you wanted. Addiction is a real disease that some people have. And man, I just want to just say, man, I'm just continuing, man, to believe God, man, for your freedom and your deliverance, because you're an amazing artist, man. You're an amazing man. I want to talk about something else. Speaking of the amazing man, you mentioned in 1992 you met your soulmate, the love of your life, Yo-Yo, Yolanda, and man, it's been a joy. I know that she's going through some struggles right now, but it's been a joy watching you stick by her side to the best of your ability as a man. And man, let's talk about Yolanda for a minute, man. When you guys meet?
Yeah, yeah. We met at a telemarketing firm here in Milwaukee in '92, and we was good friends before we like hooked up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think I accused her. She every payday. Either I buy lunch and then the next payday she buy lunch. I think I accused her of shorting me on some change one time. And then from there, man, we got real close, man, and I'm so persistent with anything, man. I don't believe no to me. I turn it around. I'd be like, it's on.
Yeah.
She was it was hard. I had to chase her for a long time. And you tell me, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stay at it, and we got like almost 33 years up under our belt.
Yeah.
Shout out to Yolanda, man. 2 kids. We just buried my oldest, which is her kid, which is not my biological David.
Rest in peace to David.
Yeah, we buried him last year in December. Yeah, that's my boot thing. I call it
man.
stanky booty. That's my little stanky booty.
Man, 33 years,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's commendable, man.
Yep. And she is very, very, very strong. That's a very strong
Yeah.
woman, man. She's been by my side through, the whole addiction and everything, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Now, man, now in spite of the struggle, again, we have these two trains running down the same track. Even though this other train of addiction is running adjacent to you, um, it was not able to stop your your gifting from moving forward. And tell us about the years when you not only got discovered on a local level, but when you got discovered on a national level. What did that feel like when you first heard that somebody from a national level was interested in your music?
Man, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, you got to do something now, boy. You got to straighten up. But yeah, shout out to Ralph Small, Steve-O,
Yeah,
to do it to death. They don't call him that. They F
that's
him.
me.
But yep, shout out to my man Young Twan.
Yeah.
Twan. Uh yeah, man, yeah, it was a trip, man. You know, I just thought this was for the block, and then my enjoyment. I just love the music,
Let
like
me go back. You said you thought it was just for the block.
just for the block. Man.
So tell me, come on, I want you to pull every local artist, every aspiring artist, every artist up and coming in the city of Milwaukee,
Right.
what it felt like, or even in any city, what it felt like for the first time when you heard Funk Master Flex in New York City drop the bomb on your record.
Man, I had heard of everybody heard of Funk Master Flex. So I actually was finishing the album. I finished up the Disturbed album in New York. And I remember I was in the mic booth doing this song produced by Big Hank called Something Something. And I was in the booth recording, and somebody just came run in there, and they just stopped, like, "Come here, Fuck Master Flex and dropped the bar." I said, "I'm in the middle of this. Hold on, what you talking about?" And so I came out the booth, man, and went into the little waiting room where everybody was sitting, and they're listening to the radio, and he just kept dropping the bomb and restarting the song over. And I'm like, dude, let me get back to the song. I still didn't realize what that meant for Funk Master Flex to drop the bomb. And then, he was like, man, every DJ in the country is finna start playing that record.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just went from there. Glory
And it
be to
wrapped
God.
around the globe, all the
Yeah.
way to from New York, all the way to LA, the Baker Boys, all the way down south. The song literally just took off and became a global sensation, and actually made its way into Hollywood.
Right.
Into Hollywood, the movie The Animal.
The Animal, yeah, Dark Angel, it's
Yes.
stuff. The Lakers, I still all that stuff is publishing. I still get from this day, man. It's like I look at it and be like, man, this is a blessing, man.
Man, so what was the feeling like when you heard years later another national artist by the name of Young Jeezy uh recite you in his verse, or reference you in his verse, in
I
the
could
projects like Cuckoo Cow?
I can tell you the first time I found out, I was walking from the liquor store,
Wow.
and somebody pulled on the side of me. He originally from Milwaukee. His name Big Lonnie. Pulled up on the side of me and said, man, listen. And I jumped in the back seat, and it was the first time I heard him shout me out, Jeezy. I was actually walking from the liquor store, man.
Man, you have such an amazing story, man, and I can't stop referencing these two trains, and it's like two trains that are running parallel to each other, but it's amazing how there are people who let the slightest thing of procrastination stop them. There are people who let the slightest headache stop them. But here you're carrying this entire struggle along with you, and yet over all these years, Cal, you've never let it stop you. You've never let it completely deter you from pursuing your goals. And right now, you're working on a brand new album. Is that
The
correct?
album is just about complete. I think we got one or two more songs to wrap up. And once again, glory to God. It's called The Recovery. It's going to be hard to drop an album called The Recovery, and I haven't fully recovered yet. But
Well, you said that to me earlier, and I want to let you know, man. The Bible says to call those things that are not as though they were. That's what the Word of God says. It says, "Call those things that are not as though they were." And so, you never know, man. You proclaiming recovery may be very prophetic to your journey.
Right.
It may be prophetic to your journey, and you speak it into existence. And you know, and we're still believing God, man, for your freedom and for your deliverance from your struggle, as we believe for anybody else from any struggle, from anything. But I'm just in awe at how the fact that God has graced you and has anointed you so much that even your struggle could not stop you. Even your struggle could not hold you down or hold you back. You just did another song with another national recording artist,
Boosie.
with Boosie. You and Boosie just did a song
Yeah.
together.
That was amazing. I actually reached out to Steve-O a few days back, and I was like thinking, just running from myself. There's a lot of stuff going on. I was like, man, Boosie, man, we go way back, man. Steve-O, hit him up and see if I can't jump on a few dates with him and do some shows. And he was like, man, I'm really on something else right now. Just tell him, man, I'm finna jump on the album, send something. So that was a blessing, man. That's just all that happened. Yep. And yesterday we dropped the bomb on him.
Nice. So yesterday y'all dropped the bar. Man, I'm excited. So you hear it here first. Cuckoo Cal and Boosie have recorded a record together. And it's just amazing, man, that even now today, all of these years later, that national recording artists in the nations are still checking for your music. And that just kind of comes full circle back when you was a kid and being able to touch so many different soils and so many different places and traveling globally, and yet it's set in motion that you were someone that was to go to the nations and to be not just a local sensation, but to be a world renowned. And man, we salute you on that. We salute you, my brother. We salute you, and we continue, man. We continue to pray with you and pray for you in regards of your struggles. But we're all inspired just hearing your story, because regardless of the struggle, regardless of whatever is happening, it can't hold you back. It can't stop you. In the Bible, we say, the Lord says in his word, he says, who can separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus? And then he names this litany list of the most horrible things: can death or trouble or tribulation or all of these things. He says nothing can separate us from the love of God. That there's nothing. It doesn't mean that those things won't happen, but it doesn't have the ability to separate us from God's love. And even when the Bible says, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper, it doesn't say the weapons won't form, but they're not going to prosper. And so, brother, it's my pleasure, man, to interview you on today. And it's my pleasure to sit across from such an honorable man, a great man, a genius. I'm grateful to know your genius and to know you, and to know, man, that regardless of this struggle, that we're all hoping and pulling for you to conquer and receive victory over. But it's just good to witness and see, man, that regardless of this struggle being present in your life, it has not stopped you. It has not curtailed you. It has not taken away from your voice. It has not taken away from people being attracted to that thing that God has placed inside of you. And so, man, Cuckoo Cal, you are a true inspiration to Milwaukee, man.
That's
You
love.
really are.
That's
You really
love. I
are a true
appreciate it.
inspiration to Milwaukee, man. Hey, man, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, man, to interview you on the Room to Think podcast. Hey, listen, I want to look right in this camera, and I want to just say, man, this is one of the best interviews that I'm probably ever going to be able to do. I'm probably going to have some amazing people sit in this seat, but I am honored today to have my brother Cuckoo Cal sit in this seat. I've been given a set of VIP tickets, front row tickets to his life, and been able to watch his ups, his downs, his struggles, his highs, his lows. And it's a pleasure, man, to just watch that, to just know that regardless of whatever it is that we go through, regardless of whatever it is that comes against us, we have to know that heat and fire, heat and pressure make diamonds. And pressure don't bust pipes, it make diamonds.
Right.
And so, man, it's a good thing to know, man, that we need a little heat, we need a little pressure. And so Man, I'm just grateful, man, to have this conversation with you. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than my brother, Cuckoo Cat.